The Thief is a frontliner avoid tank that can steal passive points as well as use its own passive points to use the evade ability. The evade ability allows the Thief to essentially guarantee dodge attacks. In addition to having high evasion, the two of these abilities working together, the passive high evasion and the evade, kind of make Thief virtually unhittable outside of enemies with true strike. So typically the Thief is kind of like a frontliner that, just like armor, is virtually unkillable with the exception of encountering its weakness. Now there's ways to mitigate this. This team comp is kind of insane. It's not really the best thing for general combat, as you can see here, but it has a specific purpose, and that is killing mage towers. This is a really good team comp for just wiping out mage towers, so that's what I'm doing. I'm just like ferrying the Thief around, but it can be used in like more conventional, not insane team compositions that I honestly don't really recommend running this team comp, but I'm experimenting, so we're messing around a bit. With the Thief, let's go over its details now. So sword, infantry, scout. Now the main weakness it has are hunters and true strike abilities. The Thief has low HP, so when it does get hit, it tends to die. So it kind of needs the evasion tanking and the evade passive in order to sustain. And if at any point you encounter something with true strike, if the Thief is not defended by like an armor for redundancy, which is a good use case, like having a unit who can shield the Thief from true strike, then it's just going to be getting dropped. Now you can be careful with the Thief and just have it not fight these things, but the Thief has 6 stamina, high mobility, even though it's infantry because it's quite quick. And then its leader effect is reduce wait time while resting. Now that can be useful for resetting, especially if you like wait in the trees so the enemies don't know where you're at. But overall, in terms of making this the party leader, like in this case, I'm using Flyer as the party leader so that we can fly over, fly to guard towers and eliminate them, kind of independent of my team. That's like the point of this team. But in the case of waiting, it could be useful if you plan on making the Thief unit like your main unit that's like pushing lanes. It could be pretty useful actually, so it's something to consider. It's definitely not as good as other things, but it's not bad. For skills, passive steal. So this hits twice, but it hits for 50 physical potency. So basically 100 physical potency because it hits twice. And it steals all of the enemy's passive points. Does not apply if they guard the hit first. So you have to be mindful of guards, like with most things. Guards tend to be, like tanks and like shielding units. They tend to undermine a lot of basic tactics. So this can kind of hurt the Thief, but there are ways around it that we'll go into in a second. You have Toxic Throw, unlocked at level 10, attacks a single enemy, inflicts poison. Now it hits twice, and I don't think you can stack these things, so like if you hit twice, I'm pretty sure it doesn't poison twice, just poisons once, just applies poison 1. But it is ranged, which is nice, so if you have access, like if there's no guard units with block, you can hit like a backliner and then poison. You also have Evade. This is like the bread and butter of the Thief, the passive steal evade combo. This allows the Thief to have near infinite sustain in some cases, just to stall out combats, waste enemy attacks. I did forget to mention the Thief has very high initiative. It has kind of lower damage, but high initiative, so that it almost always acts first, which is very useful for stealing passives, because then you steal things before they can be used. In terms of evasion, it has high evasion. Its accuracy is also decent, so those are the main stats of the Thief. Now, for the Valor skill, Plunder, steal gold from an enemy unit. A lot of people like this, and it is good if you have the extra Valor points. Like if you're about to beat a map and you have the Valor points, you might as well steal. It's free money, so it's pretty useful for boosting your economy. Boosting your economy is always good. You can buy more artifacts. You can get more rare weapons, more usable items, and so on. So it's always good to have extra cash. And then for the loadout, this particular build, the Thief is kind of running just like whatever is left, but Silken Scarf, I would say, is one of the best things for the Thief. For the other one, Brown Beret is fine, but really it should be running something like Lucky Coin. Now I'm using this on a different unit for a different reason, but you get Avoid. So look at the evasion, 92 evasion, almost nothing is hitting you except for true strikes. So if you just run Silken Scarf with Lucky Coin, you're basically unhittable, and you also get crit plus 20 with Lucky Coin. So that's what I'd recommend for that. Now for the weapons, For the runic sword, this is good for bunker busting, like killing enemy armored. So the thief struggles against armored because it can block the passive steal. So if your passive steal is getting blocked anyways, you might as well kill the armor or put big damage on it with runic sword. So you would run runic sword for magic attack and just try to DPS it down. Viper Fang is also good for a similar reason. It puts poison. Now the damage of the Viper Fang is going to be low, but the poison damage will be decent and could help burst down an armor. And you would have to fight it several times to do this, or ideally you have like a mage with you. If the mage damage isn't enough, the poison probably is. Sanguine Blade, not so good on Thief, low HP. It kind of doesn't matter at all because it shouldn't be getting hit. If it's getting hit, it's dying. So you pretty much want to build around it not getting hit. But if you don't want to run Runic or Viper, Templars is not bad. So if you go for passive steal, you just have pretty high might, 15 physical attack. You get guard rate, which is random and has nothing to do with what the thief is going for, and the defense is kind of irrelevant, but it's not a bad weapon. Sanguine Blade is good for the might, but it's better off on someone who wants to heal. And these other two are weaker for the basic attack. So this is kind of like the best thing if you're going to be passive steal spamming, because it just, does the decent damage. Now for this weapon, I'm pretty sure the basic attack... so magic attack is like this unique ability, right? It's like an activated ability specifically, so you can't passive steal plus magic attack. So I'm pretty sure its basic attack is in physical. That's why it has 2 damage things listed. So if you were to passive steal with the runic sword, you're basically just dealing less damage. And in the case of Templar sword, almost half, and in the case of Sanguine, half. But I'd say Viper Fang and Templar sword, maybe runic sword, are the weapons you should really be using. Now for other passives, there is the option of running Lapis Pendant for an extra passive point. This allows you to evade more if there's nothing to steal from, or if it gets guarded, so you can main tank better. Vitality Talisman, some people have found some success on, giving the thief just enough extra health to tank a true shot. You could do this, I suppose. I think the better thing to do would be to run, like if I was running a thief in like a main team comp, what I would want, sorry, let me deploy this. So let me show you this team really quick. So this, all right, so Cleric's Cane. Cleric's Cane gives you protection, and protection activates before an ally is attacked, reduce damage taken by a row of allies by 50% for 1 attack. So this hits all frontliners, but this would activate on your thief. And also the Cleric's Cane gives you an extra passive point, and with Lapis Pendant, this unit has 3 passive points, which is ridiculous as hell. But it basically would allow you to tank a hit. So this would be a better thing. And then you could run another frontliner or something else. Now, the thief is not going to be getting healed, but this is an example of using something else to make the thief able to tank an arrow. Other things, of course, like Holy Barrier, reduce damage taken by 50%. So if you want to run like Joseph with the thief, he can Holy Barrier the thief so that it can tank an arrow. Holy Guard also should be able to tank an arrow. So these two would help the thief. And then of course, if Joseph is running Poison Slash, if you have Runic Blade on the thief and Poison Slash on Joseph, those two could probably take down an armor without a mage, so that your early team comp would be like Joseph, Thief, and like a Cleric. And then the Cleric could also target Joseph. You could remove heal from him. You could also Pursuit as needed, and you can rotate through Holy Barrier, Holy Guard, and Pursuit as needed. Also note that Joseph has 2 action points and 2 passive points, and pretty good initiative as well as decent block on the correct build. In this case, he has Watchman's Lantern and optional slots, just to prevent burn, because he is kind of like a main tank. But something like that to reduce the thief's damage from a true attack to keep it alive. The Vitality might work, but I could see it falling off, especially as the enemies start getting higher stats. That's pretty much it for the Thief Guide. If you enjoyed this or found this useful, definitely subscribe. And also, if you have any other useful insight on the Thief, use cases, how to use the Thief, of course for Expert Mode, definitely drop a comment down below, or if you have any interesting builds of the Thief. Currently, I'm just trying to get through the demo as quickly as possible, and it seems like getting to around this battle is where I usually run out of time, so I don't really get to spend too much time running some of these classes, but hopefully once the game releases, I'll do like follow-up guides. Well, actually, I will be doing that, so we'll be doing that. All right, peace.